Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Rise News. I am Adesola Omoron.
And I'm Kola Oseni.
First democratically elected governor of Lagos State, Alhaji Lateef Jakande, will be 90 years on Tuesday next week. And to celebrate the elder statesman, series of activities are in place.
One of these achievements is the achievement of those he worked with and dined with. One of them is Alhaji Kola Oseni, a former organizing secretary of the deformed Unity Party of Nigeria, UP, and Lagos State, and one of the national leaders of the All Progressive Congress.
Well, he will be speaking to us on the legacy of this elder statesman and, of course, the achievements in Lagos State under Alhaji Lateef Jakande as governor. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Adesola. Good morning.
And just taking a look at what Lagos was like under Alhaji Lateef Jakande, housing and education programs for the poor, 30,000 housing units, I read in some place. There was the plan for, in fact, a metro line that was terminated because the military, came into power in 1983. But this is Lagos. Up to now, we don't have a functioning metro line. What happened to governance? What do you think happened? Where did we get it wrong? Was it a question of quality of leadership or greed?
Thank you, Adesola, and thank you, Mr. Oseni.
Thank you so much, sir.
In life, a woman gets pregnant. The baby is nurtured in her womb for 9 months. The baby is born. The mother takes it as a personal issue. The governance of Alhaji Jakande is not where we should start. Where we should start is like a father to Lagos State. Lagos State was created because of his push. When he was forcibly accused of being part of treasonable felony, he was sent to prison. He was accused number 5 and sentenced to 7 years incarceration. While there, he wrote a book, A Case for Lagos State. On the basis of that book, the state was created because the book guided the committee after General Buhari decided that, well, there must be something after the war. Now, going back to the governance, I came into Alhaji Jakande's life on November 1st, 1978. I'd always thought that, well, to a certain extent, up there. But I was humbled by his intelligence. All he did was to execute his vision for what Lagos State should be. I require most people to take the time to read a speech. I remember after I got the nomination on November 4th, 1978, his acceptance speech was christened A Call to Service, which he later repeated on the day of his inauguration, October 1st, 1979. Now, going back to your question, the man is just a visionary, a genius, a caring person, but just a very, very, very humble individual. The metro line was the job that the first Prime Minister, Fabalewa, had intention of executing. But Alhaji Jakande took it upon himself that Lagos State, being a cosmopolitan city, there will come a point in time that we just can't cope, which is happening now. It's like going to New York and saying that we don't have the train system. Can you imagine how chaotic it will be? And that's what we're going through in Lagos today. They nurtured the idea of having a metro line. We worked on it. The workaholic. And at the end of the day, this same president, the present president of Nigeria, after the coup of 1983, was persuaded that it is not visible. Before they came into power, Alhaji Jakande had fully paid for the construction of the metro line. He had paid £85 million and $100 million. All that was left to do was for Inter-Afra, the company that was supposed to construct it, to finish the construction, manage it for 15 years, and turn it back to the state. But it was aborted.
Let me come in here. You are a top APC stalwart. What does it feel like for you working with that same president of Nigeria then that scuttled one of your biggest hallmarks, that's the train line? What does it feel like still working and supporting and defending vehemently that same person that set back the state on this developmental milestone over 30 years ago? What does it feel like?
Let me take you to industrial relations. That's what we call the collective bargaining. In any organizational structure, there's always the head. The head cannot take a singular decision as to what will happen. There'll be an idea mooted, discussed, agreed by most of the people. And with military anyway, they'll kill him, which finally ended up has been done by Babangida. I don't think it was Buhari's singular decision. I've known Buhari when he was a captain at Ethnicity, Supply and Transport. It may be someone that is quiet, but is not a corruptible person. That I can vouch for. It may be ethnic-oriented, but he never elicited.
Oh, I'll quote you. It may be ethnic-oriented.
Yes.
Okay, so that means it's leaning towards its ethnic group.
We all are.
Okay.
As a psychologist also, I know we all are. We have our preferences. For instance, most of the people that know me, at times will call me Gambari, because I speak Hausa fluently. Why? I grew up in Kano. But at the same time, my people are my people. The Igbo man will associate with his own ethnic group because it's easier for him. You see, acculturation.
Is it also easier in forming a cabinet for a country that you should lean towards your own ethnic people because you might be ethnocentric? And in federal appointments, is it also easier that way?
No.
Oh, but what if that's the order of the day? What do you say to that?
I just got back to Nigeria, but I don't think that is palatable.
Okay.
If that's the case, he cannot single-handedly put his ethnic group. What he can do...
NNPC GMD, Secretary, NNPC GMD, Head of Service of the Federation, Chief of Staff. I can go on if you want me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. I have an answer for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I've just cited 3.
Now, we have 36 states.
Yes.
Each state have the right to a cabinet post. I'm not defending him. What he can do, not single-handedly, is to take the best ministries and give it to individuals that he feels he can, But when they go to the cabinet meeting, when you say 36 states, Adesua, with that name, is probably from Edo.
From Edo.
I'm a Nigerian. Oseni is a Muslim name. I cannot place you. I'm Oseni as well. I'm Oseni from Lagos. It becomes imperative that each state be represented. In Southwest, we have 6 states, right? In South-South, I don't know how many states, I think about 4.
About 4.
In Southeast, we have Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Ebonyi.
About
right?
5 of them, yes.
What do we have in the north? We have Kano,
19.
Katsina, 19. So, 19 out of 36. We are left with 17. Is my mathematics correct?
Yes.
So, 19 must be represented. 17 must be represented. It's as if when Bola Ahmed Tinubu Ashwaju was in governance and saddled with 3 divisions that became, you have East, West, and Central, right? Senatorial districts.
Districts in Lagos.
Each district must also be represented.
But let's turn our
Are
attention.
you satisfied, Mr. Oseni?
Let's turn our
Okay,
attention
yes.
back to Alhaji Lateef Jakande,
Yes.
and just talk about the politics of today in Nigeria. A quick look, especially godfatherism, is what I want to talk about now. A quick look at the situation in Edo at the moment, APC state. We had the issue of Ambode in Lagos. We've had Akwa Ibom and Kano in the past. Just to mention a few states that we've seen the powers or the influence of constituted authority or godfatherism, would you say that this generation of politicians, took a cue from the days and the likes of Alhaji Lateef Jakande?
No, definitely not. Whereas Alhaji Jakande took the cue from Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory. The shenanigans that are going on nowadays never was present in the Second Republic.
But a lot of people will quickly interject and say, the case of 89 to 90, Sarumi, Babasokwe, that conundrum, what happened that year?
I was a central figure in that. In fact, I can categorically say that I was one of the leaders. I can say I was an initiator of Sarumi and Agbala Jobi's saga. The point is...
Can you tell us about that saga?
Okay, I'll tell you. We had agreed that after the military are ousted, the governorship will revert to the eastern section of the state, the Eastern Senatorial District. Sarumi came out, Agbala Jobi came out. In the game of politics, you have to compromise, and we're unable to compromise ourselves. Alhaji Jakande is one of the most democratically minded individuals that I know.
Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Rise News. We still have with us Alhaji Kola Oseni, who's talking about the legacies of the first democratically elected governor of Lagos State, Alhaji Lateef Jakande. And I was going to ask you about the vision of the man. You have said he was a visionary leader. I mean, a metro line way back, terminated in 1983. But let me also bring in a bit of politics here. How would you describe the relationship between the likes of former Governor Bola Tinubu, Fashola, and even Ambade with this visionary? Did they tap into his wealth of knowledge for Lagos to still be here? I mean, we don't have a functioning metro line.
No, this is not the Lagos I know. And this is not the Lagos I want. And this is not the Lagos that Alhaji Jakande envisioned. An attempt was made by Ahmed Bola Tinubu to go through the path of Alhaji Jakande. He tried his best. The most important thing to know by everybody is that there is no new innovation in Lagos State after this man left office.
After Alhaji Lateef Jakande left office?
No innovation. The only innovation that was added to his blueprint, when you're going into governance, you have the blueprint. When you get into governance, you add the blueprint to the technocrats that will turn it for implementation into the white paper. The white paper becomes the policy. Tell me a new thing that has been introduced, excepting the oracle and computerization of the state by Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay, so
now, I'll go on.
Okay.
Free education. The school we built that were being called poultry sheds, we have been silly. The so-called poultry shell was accepted and copied. If you go to Mexico today, the same so-called poultry shell as what is being used. When the students sat in class, you are not disturbed by rain, you are not disturbed by any other thing. The newly one constructed were to be the second stage. He used the so-called poultry shed to reserve the lands. The one that was started by the military is handiwork. The metro line is baby. The housing scheme, when he started his housing scheme, you know what they paid for it?
How much?
6,000 naira.
For a house back then.
And then,
yeah,
the 6,000 naira, you didn't have to pay at a go. It took whatever your rent is. Mrs. Abodere was made the chairman of the Lagos State Building something commission, where the loans were given out. Adesua, monthly rent is hypothetically 200 naira.
Okay.
The loan you'll be paying to pay back the mortgage will also be 20.
And this is many years down the line. And it brings me back to my first question, which I asked. Why have we not seen a change so far? Lagos prides itself as a mega city in the world. But you have said, and you agree with those who say, it punches below its weight when it comes to its peers. What is the problem? Is it a problem of quality of leadership? Have we not been able to find the likes of Alhaji Lateef Jakande since then?
Yes.
What is the problem?
We have not been able to find the likes of Lateef Jakande.
Okay.
If you go to Ekpe Axel, the roads, Lekki Phase 1, extension of Victoria Island. Victoria Island ended at Adeptukumba Ademola when he came into governance. This man does not have a plot. All his children are tenants now. He never gave a plot to himself, not one single plot to any of his family. I remember a very funny story. The wife's cousin wanted a plot in Victoria Island, and the dedicated wife went to him and said, you know what he told him? If I give it to you, they'll say, oh, my family has taken all the land. Let us take care of the people that are in need. But the politicians of nowadays don't even care for the populace. They care for their pockets.
Okay, I want to come in here.
Yes.
I asked a question before we went on break, and you were trying to answer that question. Yes. The events surrounding 1990, because when we're talking about legacies, legacies is a very general word. It's not only the good side. I mean, there's some sides. And I want you to talk about that event of 1990 and also talk about the events surrounding 93 that Lateef Jakande took a position from the Abacha administration. So those two events, just talk, because a lot of people are watching and they want to learn from that.
Now,
yeah, 1990 first.
If we're talking about legacy, Lateef Jakande's legacy is not just his political doings. He was the first black man to be the president of International Journalists Association. Who is the founder of NIJ? Lateef Jakande. Yeah. Who is the founder of NUJ?
The first president of NAPA.
The first president of NAPA. Who?
Lateef Jakande.
This is a man that has excelled in every endeavor he had involved himself in. I'll give you a story, because you started it. He had this saying that I will do the greatest good for the greatest number of persons. Yes, he took the appointment with Abacha.
As the Minister of Works.
What was his intention? Go to the archives. When he got there, he decided that he was going to repeat the same thing he did in Lagos State by constructing 121,000 houses all over the country. And that individuals will only pay 78,000 naira with a deposit, no, 70,000 naira with a deposit of 38,000. What happened? Adisa of blessed memory got there and said, Adisa and Dia. The man said, this man will not steal, he will not allow people to steal. Guess what they turned it to? That the houses that was constructed meant for the poor people that were supposed to pay 70,000 now were made to pay 400 plus. What did he do? He appealed to the federal government, said, these individuals told me that they trusted me, that was why. Who is the initiator of Banana Island? Who?
Okay, but I'm saying in a time where if you had anything to do at all with Abacha, vis-a-vis what was on ground as regards the June 12th mandate, you are seen as sort of a persona non grata. Wasn't it a moral thing for him to say, I have nothing to do with a government that had no mandate, while a man that had mandate was languishing in prison?
Good. Now, in any situation, you can enact changes from the inside, not from the outside. If he was in that government to help the greatest number to have the greatest good, is more beneficial. Most of the people that were saying, June 12, Nadeko, they were going backwards to get something from the
but
government.
he was so quick to call the likes of Babangida Kingibe betrayals. But could we call Alhaji Jakande the same thing?
Who said
Babangida Kingibe.
Babangida Kingibe betrayed?
That's the word out there, that he had no rights to go and hobnob with a government that was contrary. So can we call Alhaji Lateef Jakande?
You see, most people don't have the background. I happen to be the man in Jos during the Congress representing Babangida Kingibe. I was one of the initiators. I was one of the persons that pushed Babangida Kingibe out.
So you think you didn't have regrets taking up that job?
Please. Before he took the job, he consulted with Abiola.
Okay.
And Abiola said, good, go. And they put him in the PRC and made him Minister for Foreign Affairs. That is still being in there and trying, making an attempt to enact changes from the inside. You are all here now, right? You are the program coordinators, right? For you to go better, if you are not on the same page with Adesua, Mr. Oseni, what can you achieve?
Nothing. Nothing.
When we are coming in here, the producer said, I can only accommodate one person.
And because we need to go very quickly, what do you think that is the biggest legacy or achievement of Alhaji Jakande as it turns 90 and the first democratically elected governor of Lagos State?
I think history had just repeated himself about Alhaji Jakande. In 1959, Adirun Ogunsoya, Charles Benson went to Sardauna and said, instead of NCNC forming government with Awolowo, we'd rather form it with you. In 1979, Obasanjo, we had concluded in just, we had just to have a press conference.
We need to go now. The
We
cut
need
off
to
talk.
go.
Thank you so much for
Was
your
that the
time.
end?
Yes.
That's the end. Thank you so
Unfortunately,
much.
1 hour.